listening to Pop This, the podcast where three women talk about pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen, Andrea Gin, and Andrea Warner.
So I ran into this person the other night, and their hair looked so good. Like they had, it was kind of curly and super fun, and I was like, wow, your curls look great, because I, as someone with curly hair, I'm always interested in where people get their hair cut. And my last haircut I really liked, but the way that she cut it, it's not maintaining its curl as much. Like there aren't enough layers to sort of maintain the curl, so it falls out a little bit easier. Because my hair is very naturally curly, but if I let the layers get too long, it really pulls the curl down. So anyways, this person was like, yeah, I went to this person and they were great, and I got the contact information. It's only 7 blocks from my home.
Oh, perfect.
And so I have sent an inquiry, but it's like, so I'm a tiny bit intimidated. So I really like the person who's cut my hair the last couple times. She's really fun. She's great. She does tons of curly hair in the city. This person, it turns out, is also a curl expert. And it just everything looks a little bit from the website and from the emails that or the email that I received back trying to make an inquiry about the appointment, or what it could look like. They've got a lot of rules around stuff. If I have certain wants, it's 75 minutes minimum for the appointment. But then if I have other wants, or just hair type, because it requires more artistry, it's a longer appointment and therefore more money. And I'm just trying to
Have you ever experienced this before?
Well, I've experienced that curly hair costs more to cut often. That's just sort of something that happens, but I've never quite experienced this much sort of front loading of
by other wants,
trying to set expectations.
Do they mean shampooing and blow dry kind of situation?
I don't think so. I don't even know if shampooing and blow drying is part of the service. I don't know. That's the thing. I have no idea. They haven't mentioned anything. And it's 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 expensive. And I think absolutely the stylist's time is worth whatever she sets as her price point. It's up to me as to whether or not I feel comfortable paying that, and that's fine. But I'm just this is an investment, and I'm not one to get my hair cut that often. But in the sort of pre-booking thing, they specifically state, and the stylist will tell you what your maintenance schedule needs to be going forward.
Wow.
And I don't know if I'm ready for that kind of commitment.
Or it could be life-changing.
It could be. That's the other thing. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be the best haircut that I've ever had. But I just don't know what to do. The other person who I do like, who's cut my hair twice, again, I really like her. But one, it does take a long time to get an appointment with her because she's extremely popular. Two, it's all the way in Cole Harbor, whereas this is 7 blocks from my home. And three, and this is a point in this woman's favor though, in Cole Harbor, she knows that she's not going to see me more than once a year.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's
Does she listen to this podcast?
And I don't know. No, but she and I have an understanding. She's just yeah, you don't, she tells me, she's you don't need a haircut more than once a year. Cause you're not trying to maintain a certain cut. You just want to have,
But I feel it's good that when hairdressers are upfront about, because I feel some people go in and ask for a certain look with no understanding of how much maintenance it takes to keep it up.
Yeah, for sure.
Forever. And then are just kind of let down and disappointed when their hair doesn't look like that. Or, they don't have the time or the energy to, get their hair re-dyed every 2 weeks because that's, what you have to do. It's good. It's good that, this new hairdresser is kind of completely upfront and honest that it's like maybe depending on what you want, it could be like a ton of work. Like my hairdresser that I recently went to told me she's Asian with dark hair like mine, and she had dyed it this really beautiful blonde color, and it was super long and it just looked beautiful. But she's like, if I wasn't a hairdresser and didn't work in a hair salon, there's no way I could maintain this hair because it requires like daily maintenance.
Oh wow. Yeah. No, and I do like it when people really try to like set expectations up front. Like that's something I do. So maybe it's just me being on the receiving end of those expectations being set. I feel a bit overwhelmed. Like it's a longer commitment, but I'm just getting a taste of my own medicine. And maybe like, and I always think like I'm a bit of a control freak, but I also try to provide as much information as possible. So it's like always sort of consent based for like whatever we're doing. And maybe that's what this person's just doing. And I should just be like, oh, good. Like, I don't know why it's like causing me to have a little, but maybe it's causing me to have a bit of anxiety just because like I feel weird spending so much money on like hair that I'm not coloring it. I'm not doing anything special to it.
Once a year, I think you can splurge.
Well, that's the thing. In my mind, this is like a once a year, maybe twice a year.
Yeah.
I guess I also don't want to get into a conversation with this like new potential stylist where like they expect to see me like every 3 months or something. Cause I don't want a haircut that I would need every 3 months. Like, Yeah.
I think like if you go in and just like tell the person that right away, like all their expectations will be reset. I think that they're just probably just laying it out for people who come in with a picture of dramatically different hair than what they have. And want that haircut and expect it to be like I'm going to come here once every 6 months and I want my hair to look like this kind of situation.
Yeah, no, you're right. All right. I'm going to calm down. And you know what? I'm going to reply to the email and I'm going to give this person a chance.
Just give it a try.
I think that's a good, just give it a try. Yeah. I'm at that stage where I just made a hair appointment, but I made it for 2 weeks. And so now I've made the psychological decision that my hair sucks and I need to get it fixed. So now I have to live with what I have
for
on
2
my head
weeks.
for 2 weeks. Hating it every day.
I think your hair looks great, so I don't think you should be so harsh on yourself.
But I've made the call. Literally, figuratively.
No, like I'm excited for you to get a haircut. I'm just saying I think you should be like maybe like more loving and tender towards the hair that exists in its current state because it has to serve you for 2 weeks.
It does. It has to be like this, but
like, wow, if this isn't an perfect segue into the movie we're talking about. Today.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah.
Self-acceptance.
Yeah, we have to look at ourselves in the eye long enough in the mirror and for consecutive like enough hours and days and weeks and months to just really, really love ourselves as we are.
Sure. That's why I'm going to the hairdresser to get all of my hair colored and cut. But yeah, I love myself just the way I am.
Well, I mean, it doesn't mean you can't, enjoy a fun haircut.
No, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're not looking for a.
But
soul
you also
transplant.
don't have to dislike yourself for 2 weeks until you get your haircut.
No, I suppose that's entirely true. I could work on that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gin. I appreciate that.
What a nice ring to it. And You're right. That is a perfect segue. I'm Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
And we are talking. Oh, you're listening to Pop This. And you know what? We watched 97 minutes of what can be summarized, I think, as like, a sort of a bit of glossy self-help. And now we're going to try and unpack it.
Yeah. Good luck to us because it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. We're talking about Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. And I had heard like that I had heard last year people being like, hey, this movie's kind of getting slept on. It's pretty good. Like it's doing some interesting things. Like, I think everyone should watch it. And I knew a little bit about what it was about, but I didn't know a lot.
Yeah, I'm with you. Exactly. I knew enough that it sounded like a really interesting premise, and I knew that, but that's pretty much all I knew.
Yeah, and of course, like I'll usually watch any film with Emma Thompson in it, so it seemed like a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, and once we watched Bad Sisters, and we were like, oh, like Daryl McCormack from Bad Sisters is also in this. Oh, we gotta watch this.
He's also in Peaky Blinders. He's really good in that.
Yeah, I've never watched Peaky Blinders. That's good.
Yeah, it's violent, so it's not for everybody, but it's quite good.
Okay. Well, I gotta say, I do like Daryl McCormack.
It would be hard to find someone who was like, I just don't like him.
Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
He's such a good actor.
He really is. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, like Emma Thompson is brilliant, and I gotta say, like, they're very well matched in terms of sort of what they offer to each other and what they bring out of each other throughout this film.
There was definite chemistry, and that helped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't feel like either one of them was. It wasn't like they were competing in like a master class off, like it was.
Yeah.
Each really like embodied their character extremely well, and anyway, all right. Let's talk about backgrounds, synopses, and then get into it. Yep.
That's the right way to describe this movie for sure.
Everything is going to be not just a double entendre, but triple today. It's a layer cake of euphemisms. Lisa, do you want to read the background?
Sure. Good Luck to You, Leo Grande is a 2022 sex comedy drama film directed by Sophie Hyde, written by Katie Brand. The film stars Emma Thompson and Daryl McCormack. The story revolves around a woman who seeks a young sex worker to achieve an orgasm. The film had its world premiere at the 2022 Sundance Film Festival on the 22nd of January and was released on the 17th of June 2022, theatrically in the United Kingdom by Lionsgate and digitally in the United States and Hulu Original. The film was critically acclaimed with praise given to the film performances, specifically Thompson, who received BAFTA and Golden Globe Award nominations for her performance. And that comes from Wikipedia.
I will say, like, I hadn't fully paid attention to how Wikipedia summarized the story up top. I should have, but I guess I was just in a hurry. And it's a bit
reductive to
say that it just
to use a line from the movie.
A line from the movie, but it is a bit reductive to
Yes,
see
it is.
that just to achieve an orgasm. Anyway, all right, what are we gonna do? AG, do you want to read the synopsis?
Sure. In Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, two-time Academy Award winner Emma Thompson embodies the candor and apprehension of retired teacher Nancy Stokes, and newcomer Daryl McCormack personifies the charisma and compassion of sex worker Leo Grande. As Nancy embarks on a post-marital sexual awakening and Leo draws on his skills and charm, together they find a surprising human connection. That's from Rotten Tomatoes.
Post-marital. The woman's husband died.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't realize it till just now that they described it as post-marital.
Wow.
Post-marital.
I wonder how all the widows out there feel thinking about their marriages
Just
as
like
being post-marital.
Yeah, don't refer to yourself as a widow. You're post-marital.
But she does continue to wear her wedding band.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it sort of makes sense. Like, even though it obviously didn't sound like the best marriage or even maybe a very good one, she clearly knew how to do the same thing every day for 30 years. And that takes a while to, get past that and really free yourself.
But
Maybe post-marital is the best way to describe it. Sorry, I don't know.
I just wanted to also note that because this film was never shown in theaters, Emma Thompson, they didn't get any Oscar nominations for this movie.
Yeah,
even though they got Golden Globe nominations and BAFTA awards.
That sucks.
Yeah, the Oscars changed their rules to be like it has to be at least theatrical release for at least a week, I think,
Yeah.
to qualify.
Yeah. That's a bummer.
Yeah, and it seems like a really, I mean, I guess they're doing it to encourage people to go to theaters, but in this day and age when so much good stuff is streaming only, it seems
It
like an
seems
interesting
reductive.
choice. Yeah.
The word of the day.
That's our magic word. So Pee-wee's Playhouse rules. Whenever we say reductive, do we have to scream? I can't remember what it is. I don't have a bucket of slime, so we can't make it a slime.
But isn't it
tequila.
like, it's just funny because like part of this movie is her being impressed by words like that when Leo Grande uses them.
Yes.
I know. It's so okay. I like this movie, and I think I probably like it a fair bit, but there are things about it that are hard to sort of like, there are just some structural things that are holding it back and then by extension holding me back from like truly loving it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like that feels okay. Like we don't have to have like, you know, Nancy Stokes be this like hero that we can all get behind or whatever. But like it also doesn't give maybe as much space as is needed to Leo to just be a real person instead of just like either like a construct of like a fantasy like romance book character or a fantasy of a trauma baby who has, you know, just has no choice but to sort of sell himself. I don't know. It's this movie makes it a little bit difficult to sort of like figure out what the writers actually trying to do here, or what the director's trying to do.
Yeah, like there's a lot of things in it that I want, like, kind of indicates that I should like this movie. Like, I appreciate the message of the movie. I liked both the acting performances a lot. And, you know, like I felt that at times, like the dialogue was engaging. And like there's nothing there that I would like say I dislike the movie about, but there's something about it where at the end I wasn't really like, oh, that was a really great movie. I'm going to recommend it to everyone I know. It was just like yeah, I mean, I did not like it, but I don't know kind of question mark.
Mm-hmm. I feel the same way. In a way, I feel like the movie is fooling us in the same way that Leo Grande fooled Nancy with his charms, and that she felt then that he actually quite liked her, forgetting the relationship that they had, which was, you know, she was paying for a performance and he was coming with that. And so sometimes I was watching the movie thinking, what am I responding to here? Is there's something really dark about this, but at the same time, I'm trying to legitimize it by saying, no, this is a transaction. This is fine. But I felt uncomfortable through a lot of it.
Well, I think the movie's not very comfortable. Like it pretends to be kind of progressive about sex work, and it pretends to, because I do feel like it's pretending to be progressive about sex work. And like, I am very pro sex work. I am very pro legalization and decriminalization, and I want sex workers to have rights. And the movie kind of pretends that it wants those things, but like a lot of the language is like pretty loaded sometimes. It kind of reduces things to like very simple notions, and it ignores other stuff completely. And then the sort of, we get to this point where Nancy has, I mean, we know Nancy is not okay on a lot of levels. And I think she needs like a therapist maybe and a sex worker to like really like fulfill those roles, you know?
She should have
and
kept part of her budget for a therapist.
For proper
I
therapy.
agree. But when we get to the point in the film where she reveals that she basically stalked him and found out, who he really is and stuff, my stomach turned and I was just like, oh my God, like this poor man just has a job to do. He just wants to do his job. Like she has taken it like, and just like this idea that like she's like talking about how his like he can reconcile with his mother and she can talk to his mother. Like,
see, you know what? I would have been
Oh my
okay with
God.
that scene if it hadn't been for the redemption at the end, and that's why I felt it was wrong.
yeah, just like that like he forgave her. Like,
Yes.
So
Yes.
easily.
Yeah.
He should not have forgiven her.
Yeah.
She not only was she prying into his life, she also was starting to try and have a relationship outside of this transaction, which was not anything like that's what all of his clients would want. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I just feel like that was disingenuous because how it should have just ended with him leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, honestly, the only part that I like truly appreciated. I mean, okay, I will say, the last 5 minutes of them just like having sex all over the place, pretty hot, not bad. I thought, you know what, that looks fun. Glad for all of you.
Mm-hmm, yes.
But I would have been like kind of totally fine with them ending in the restaurant. The girl that Nancy apologizes to, which I mean, honestly, thankfully she apologizes to, like Jesus. The girl giving Leo her number, Leo leaving, and Nancy going up to her room to decide that she's going to like try and bring herself to orgasm if that is her sole, ultimate like achievement. Which this is one of the other things that bothers me about this movie is just this, there is so much pressure on women of all ages to assume that pleasure can only be achieved through orgasm. And I think orgasms are great. I'm very lucky. I have them. But it is not the be all and end all of every sexual like point of pleasure. Like there are so many ways to have pleasure. And for this movie to just like,
yeah, I know.
Just what are you like, you want to be sex positive, you want to be body positive, you want to be X, Y, and Z, all these different things. But like, you don't really understand what maybe that means. Like they're trying to write a movie that is real, but it's actually just more fantasy, and which is actually more harmful stereotypes that they're like reinforcing by putting it in a film and like pretending that this could be reality. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, it didn't feel like anything like reality to me. Like, and within the first few minutes of watching it, I was like, this must have been a play. This feels because it's just a dialogue. It happens in one room, like the whole 90 minutes, basically in one room, and it just like it feels like such a play. Like I was shocked when I Googled it and found out it wasn't. Like I wonder if the writers wrote it intending it to be a play and then decided to make it into a movie instead, because it's just like I don't really understand why they would put those kind of like restrictions around it if they were imagining they were making a movie right from the beginning. Because it is a little bit, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like this kind of like mindset setting in when I see a movie and I'm like, oh no, this is all we're gonna see, this one set for this whole movie.
Well, yeah, they didn't even bother to go to different hotel rooms.
Yeah.
This is the exact same one, which is also a bit cheap, but that's a whole other issue.
Yeah.
Well, she did write, so the writer, Katie Brand, actress, comedian, television personality, and author and playwright. So she published her debut novel, Brenda Monk is Funny, in 2014, and her debut play, Three Women, It happened on May 18th, and it was also published. Oh, and interestingly enough, she published a book called I Carried a Watermelon, which I got to click on now because maybe that's about Dirty Dancing. But yeah, this is, I believe, her first film. Most of her stuff is TV and comedy, and
but she has done plays, so
she has done plays.
Yeah, it just felt a little bit like I was sitting in a play, like to be honest with everybody, I was doing a bit of yoga while watching the movie.
Oh, well.
And so just like listening to the dialogue, and like you could just listen to the audio of this movie and sort of like fully get as much out of the experience as like, except for the last 5 minutes, as Andrea Warner said. But until that point, get as much out of it.
Can I bring up something kind of small and picky? I don't know if anyone noticed it. His wardrobe.
Yes. Yes. Let's talk about that. I was like, I had a moment where I was like, what year is this movie set in?
Yeah, that's
why is he wearing 80s pants? Like, or then I was like,
collarless shirts with the stripes on it. And
do we not know something? Like, are massive pants with huge pleats on them coming back in for men? Is that the style?
I was
now?
thinking, was he trying to figure out a dress style that would make someone feel comfortable?
But or is that what 20-something-year-olds wear these days?
I think England? He's dressing like the woman from White Lotus that everyone made fun of all of her clothing. I think it's the same thing. I think this is like a mid to late 20s dress style of like just a mishmash of decades melting into each other.
That white shirt
it's all an acid trip.
Quite sharp, and it looked quite nice. It's just that mixed with those pants, and I found it very confusing.
I loved the pink sweater at the end.
The pink sweater at the end
was like one of my favorite things. It was so
confusing. It was because you're like, the hotel room looks contemporary.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like it's the 80s.
Again, Nancy's outfit could be any decade.
Yeah, her outfit was timeless.
Yeah, hers is.
But like his pants were so 80s.
Well, all I'm getting is just fashion pictures of Daryl here, which is not the worst possible thing that can happen to you.
That is so weird that nobody has talked about it, because to me it's like a significant thing that weighs on your mind while you're watching it.
I kept trying to understand. Like,
what year is this? Why can't I tell?
Yeah, I just reconciled with the fact that I thought that he was just trying to make someone feel comfortable in there because that he didn't want to look too flashy or something.
Yeah, that there's like a real because he dresses one way to like meet her when he is like for sure being Leo Grande.
Yeah,
and then he dresses more, I guess, like himself.
Yeah,
even though she has booked him, like,
and then she's got a big sweater on, so there was definitely a transition there.
Yeah, she's got a different outfit on too. I guess also we're not really seeing her do the work at any point of fully understanding what she did. You know what I mean? Like he gets mad at her and then she goes away for like a week and she figures it all out. Like she figures out that she's crossed a line. Like she just like, I don't know, man. I would have I think enjoyed just seeing her like truly have like her own understanding of what she has done. I also would have liked to see her like not expect him. They meet in the restaurant. They have their their discussion, and like why does he go upstairs?
Yeah,
to the hotel.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't. After she hurt him really badly. Yeah. It's like it was like the movie wanted to have her not be shamed.
But I also I think what I'm thinking now is that like it would have been a good movie to see a more complete picture of her life as a woman going on this journey, you know, and like understanding where she's coming from and why she's doing this, and like meeting people in her life or seeing what her life looks like. like even just a little bit.
Yeah, it just that when Leo says to her, you could have dates, and she says, yes, I know, but those are old men my age. And I thought, gee, I don't know if that would have flown if it
Yeah.
was reversed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they probably wouldn't have had to have that line of dialogue. Like, this whole movie doesn't really work in reverse anyways, because
No.
we wouldn't.
A man's not going to spend his whole life trying to achieve an orgasm.
Well, I gotta say, yeah, like, I mean, number one, right there, and number two, this movie really isn't that interested in, like, because, like, I don't know, like, I mean, like, she does hurt Leo, and she should be ashamed of sort of like what she has done, like, to him, not their interactions, not their transacted behavior, but like, or engagements or whatever, but like, she should be ashamed of like going this like extra distance, and then thinking about like, what did she want from him? Like, it's not enough.
She thought they were going to have a relationship outside of this.
But I feel like she like, it goes even beyond that. She wants to control, and this is actually something that, so while I was watching it, I was thinking, I want to read sex workers' opinions about this film.
Mm-hmm.
And I found one on Open Democracy. Jamie Thomas, the headline of the piece is, a sex worker reviews Leo Grande, or Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. And Jamie talks about it. Oh goodness, I just gotta find it. Sorry. Oh yeah. Despite its flawed perspective, the film's dialogue is overwhelmingly convincing. Nancy asks Leo a number of invasive questions, such as his real name, whether his family knows about his job, and whether he has been abused. I'm often asked such questions as a sex worker. The clients who asked them all left me feeling exhausted and dehumanized. They each contributed to the level of ambient stress and sometimes violence that I face at work. Clients do not ask questions like these out of concern, but to voyeuristically gain access to a sex worker's private life as well as their body. Can you imagine sexually servicing a stranger who asks for your history of abuse? And that's like just the ugliness of what she does to him.
Yes.
Going fully out the window.
Yeah.
Like, in what, this like 5 minutes where she apologizes to the high school student that she's slut shamed, and a whole, like, she has been doing this kind of like women. Generation of young girls. She has like, and I don't mind that she's flawed at all. I'm like interested in flawed women coming to different points and figuring that stuff out. But again, we don't see her do any of that work. She just arrives at it in the space of a 5-minute cup of coffee that's terrible, and where she...
Well, that's why I think we needed to see like her life a little bit more. Like, we needed to see her come to this conclusion, or come to, it would have, I think it would have helped if it had been more
by
of a
this
focus
point,
on her
though,
life.
I didn't care. Honestly, I don't, as you said, I like female characters with flaws and angles and things like that, but I just got to a point where I didn't like her, and more than anything else, I didn't respect her. And the character, I don't think deserved the redemption she got.
Yeah. And I think that they tried to sneak that redemption in because she's a woman, and we're supposed to like just redeem women easily. And but at the expense of what? Like,
because he was and then we're to get some kind of idea that then he, like the premise of the story is that she somehow unlocked him, that he had some, and that seemed truly unfair.
That's completely unfair. Like, this movie does such a disservice to Leo Grande, and I want to, obviously, like, I want movies about women coming to, especially middle-aged women, coming to, understand and not hate themselves as much, and not hate their bodies as much, and like come to pleasure if they've been in this really like perfunctory kind of awful marriage where her husband spent 30 years not caring whether or not she was ever satisfied. Like, that's such an awful situation. And I know that's an awful situation for so many women and generations of women. So I want to see a movie about that. But they do that at the expense of Leo Grande,
Yes.
you know? And
Yes.
I don't like that.
I think
we don't need that.
There's one point where like he says something like hearing you being so like just talking about this all the time and being so like down on yourself, and it's like, you know, boring and exhausting. And I was like, yeah, like it is for the audience as well.
Yeah.
Like
I
he
know.
says it in a moment where like he's just kind of sick and tired of hearing her denigrate herself. But I think as a person watching, you're just like, that's kind of how I'm feeling about the movie, because it's just all of her, you know, like questioning him and also being so negative about herself. And I understand that those things exist and they're building her character, but it just goes on and on and on. And there's just so many examples of it. And it just seemed like so tiring, you know, like sort of midway through the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there was also it's very, I don't know, the way, I think she just treated him horribly. There was like at the beginning with, they were sitting down to have a drink and he said, let's just get, you know, talk. And she was, no, I want to go have sex right now. But then she didn't really want to talk to him or get to know him. She just wanted him to know about all her neuroses.
Yeah. Yeah, she definitely needed a therapist as well.
Oh God, like maybe 2 therapists.
Yeah. Tag team.
And then the sex worker.
Yes.
Like, I mean, just the idea
or some therapy and then a relationship with someone. I mean, you know, she could have done that too.
Yeah, any of it really would have been. I mean, 2 therapists, like just 1 vibrator, and then a relationship or sex worker,
or like a friend.
All of those things.
Yeah.
Oh my God, a friend might have been. But I guess that's the thing is like, I don't want to. Like the movie leaves us no choice, because I think the movie really seems to think that because they quote unquote like save each other, even though she does nothing to help Leo Grande at all.
No,
She goes well beyond paying him for a service. She exploits him, and then she gets to be like, this is the last time we're going to meet, you know? And that's fine. Like, I mean, she's the business person in control here. But like they never explore any of the power dynamics between them. They don't explore any of like sort of the, like, they completely minimize the race as a thing between them in terms of power dynamics and class. Like they just, I mean, I think it's just, I don't know. You can't just, I mean, this,
yeah.
But I feel like this is the kind of movie that like really, really exposes some of the problems of like super white feminism. It doesn't want to do any of the other work. And we're just supposed to be like, well, great work, Nancy. You've really come a long way. And even just like titling it Good Luck, Leo Grande.
Yeah.
Like, this is obviously your life really sucks, but good luck to you.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow.
Where Nancy goes off and she has this fantastic new pleasurable life, and I'm sure she'll land quite well.
I just never thought that like the movie, like a movie that is supposed to be really a celebration of a woman figuring out pleasure, like, because she knows nothing of pleasure in any shape or form. She doesn't like her children. She doesn't like any child she's ever taught. She's like judging everyone. She's super like thinks that like her morality removes her from like having ever have to like engage with a sex worker, you know, like, but she also has been like very much pro legalization just in terms to keep people safe. Like, but I would never have to use one, but now whatever. Like, and even, and then also at the end, she has friends because she tells her friends
to use his service.
hire him.
Oh, that's true.
What is happening? thing in this, like, oh my, sorry, I just lost my mind. My mind just fell out of my body.
Well,
Yeah, I
that's
noticed that.
the thing. Like I just finished reading this book called Why Fish Don't Exist, and it talks about like this thing called the dandelion principle, and like how like dandelions are weed to some people, but they're like, other people see them as a useful herb. Other people use them as, dye for painting. Like that, like it has like the point is like like different people have different views and opinions on different things. But like for Nancy, it kind of seems like from every angle she's like a weed to be. Like she doesn't like her kids. She does, like you said, she doesn't like the children she's taught. Like
Well, I suppose we're supposed to get this
like
message
what?
that if she had learned pleasure at some point, she would have. But that seems as oversimplification.
Yeah, but I was just like
Yes.
wondering, like, what aspect in her life do you kind of like do you expect us to like, feel for this character who doesn't seem to have an angle to her that is like, not like that she provides something to somebody in her life.
Well, I mean, I feel like I do feel for her in different times throughout the movie. Like when she weeps at one point, and it's not that I'm just a sucker for tears, but like she seems to have a genuine reaction to like something Leo does. I can't remember exactly what it was, but and my heart kind of breaks for her because I think I've seen it in some other women who, like, because of the positionality that they're in and like how and the sort of class structure that they're in, their function really is or has been to like raise two children who, maybe don't appreciate anything that you've done, and to be married to a man who like treats you as like just like a thankless sex robot for like 30 years. Then he dies and she realizes how bitter and crusty she's grown, like I feel like we get the sense of that, but we get the sense of that by like her sort of being extremely cruel to Leo. And that doesn't leave a lot of space to like truly empathize with her.
Mm-hmm.
But she's also she's cruel to the former student.
Is she? Oh, she is. But like that's
to her
like
kids?
that's what I mean though. Like we see that she has been cruel for a long time because she was so hard, because she was so bitter, because she hasn't known pleasure. And it is an oversimplification that like she sort of has this like fight with Leo, realizes what she's done, and then is still rude to this girl. The girl explains how awful she made her feel. And then she's like, oh, wow, I was terrible to you. I'm really sorry. She's able to do that in that moment. And then Leo is like, all right, well, this is, okay, I've seen you've changed.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No!
Yeah. No, it felt so forced. It felt so forced. And it felt like just so we could leave her and she could be on, she could take her place back as being, the victim.
Well, I mean, I like,
but I guess
I
the whole thing is just building to the final scene where like she's standing naked in front of the mirror, like finally appreciating her body.
Well, and I guess just like, but like also like, I don't know, guys, like, I think everyone's on a journey and that's fine in terms of sort of like being able to appreciate their bodies or at least be neutral towards their bodies, to not hate themselves. And so I appreciate that this movie wants to try and do some of that work. But like, I mean, Emma Thompson has a pretty banging body. I'm not going to look in that mirror and just be like,
well, I know. And she's like, here's the thing. We know what Emma Thompson looked like her whole life. She's been very beautiful. So we know that in real life, in the show, she would have been beautiful too.
And by classic definitions of what beauty is. You know what I mean? Like, she talks about how her arms haven't stopped wiggling for like, I don't know, forever. But like, she has conventionally thin arms.
I know.
She talks about her belly. She has maybe a tiny bit of belly.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, she has a conventionally acceptable body by most body standards, especially for a woman over, what's Emma Thompson now? Like in her late 50s,
65,
maybe?
I think something like
I
that.
think
Yeah.
early 60s.
Yeah.
Early 60s. Okay, well, I mean, how, but for years, she has occasionally been cast in these roles where we're told that, like, this is the body of a frump
Yeah.
and
I
a
know.
woman whose husbands do not want to have sex with her, who will cheat on her, who will die to get away from her. You know what I mean? Like, what is the film industry that, I mean, I know what the film industry is. I would like the world to be different. I guess that's what.
Wow. Wow.
I just like this movie. Like, I'm staring. I want. If anybody has watched this movie and they have felt extremely like welcomed into a journey of like at least neutrality with their bodies by watching this film, I'm thrilled for you. I'm so happy for you. But I just there's a lot of paths to body acceptance that don't come through finally having an orgasm. Even if you have never had an orgasm, you can still learn to accept your body, and you can also learn to experience pleasure. I just want people to know this movie is lying to you, and it's cheating a lot of people out of a lot of things, and it's mean to sex workers. So even though I like a lot of it, I'm really mad at it in a way that I did not fully understand until just this moment.
Yeah,
no,
it feels like
feel
you've
like
worked your way. You're worked through a lot of things in this podcast.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. You started one place and you ended up somewhere else. It was a
so
fascinating
mad at
journey
this
to
movie.
be on with you.
I'm sorry if I took over. I just, God.
No, it was great.
I don't know,
the audience is unfortunate can't see your face and your body language.
I mean, I think a lot of people out there will like be like us and read the synopsis and be like, I should like this movie.
Yeah.
And then just be aware that there's like a ... question mark that comes after that.
Yes. Yes. ... question mark is extremely important. Oh my God. Can I just want to, like, before we say whether it pops or not, which is, again, it's going to be, I'm still trying to sort out my answer to that. I just want to read two little last points from the review from Jamie from Democracy Now! And like a sex worker's point of view. So I will, and I agree with these points. Despite Leo Grande's what-if approach to the gender dynamics and criminality of sex work, it deserves credit for thematicizing the invisibility of older women. There aren't many films made about the sexual agency of middle-aged women, and even fewer in which the woman is depicted in such a complex yet compassionate way. So I agree with part of that. I don't think it's that compassionate necessarily. Well, actually, no, it's overly compassionate at the expense of Leo. So, okay. And then this is the other thing that Jamie wrote to sort of conclude the essay. Sex worker safety, like that of all marginalized workers, is achieved through decriminalization, access to healthcare and housing, and the free movement of people across borders. If you care about sex workers and our labor conditions, support your local strippers collective or make a donation to a sex worker hardship fund. Just don't romanticize the sex industry.
Agreed.
And I think that's like the
Here,
ticket.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just, So does it pop?
Well, I'm going to say it pops, but I'm going to say I think it's worthy of a good discussion after you watch it. And looking up the reviews, which you did, which was, the reviews, especially the reviews from sex workers. I think that was a really important part of this discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it pops. It's a half pop from me. Just because I think it is interesting. It does some interesting work. There are some very good performances.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, very good performances. But I would love for like screenwriters who want to tackle complex material to maybe like consider, speaking with and consulting with and maybe working with and collaborating with members of the communities that you wish to represent. You know, a lot of the work on this script that like is yikes could have been prevented if they had paid a few different sex workers who do this kind of like script consulting for feedback and input.
Yeah, agreed. I'm going to give it a half pop, I guess, as well. Because, like, I think it's like a solid, like, 6.5 out of 10. Like, I didn't dislike the movie, but
it's not Geely. We all know that
like, I don't really see myself telling people to watch it.
No,
So.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like definitely be like, watch it, but like only so we can talk about it for like 2 weeks after. Because I'm probably not done processing, guys. Anyway, I will be here forever in my feelings trying to figure stuff out. Anyway. We love to leave our episode on something we recommend. AG, would you like to go first?
Sure. I'm going to recommend some music this week. Begonia, who is a pop singer from Winnipeg, has a new single out called Married by Elvis.
It's a beautiful song.
Yeah, just a lovely song. Like, people kind of describe her as having like Amy Winehouse vibes. But also, like, go look up the video for the song too, because she hired a bunch of Elvis impersonators to be in this beautiful video, and it's well worth watching. And she has an album coming out called Powder Blue on February 24th. So look out for that as well.
Yay! That's awesome. Lisa, what about you?
Okay, so I don't know. I'm going to recommend, because everyone's watching The Last of Us right now, which is that TV series based on the video game.
Yeah.
I went to watch it last night. I just wanted to go in fresh, but I think I'm going to help people who didn't know, maybe like myself, that it's a zombie movie. I did not know this. Yeah. And so when we came across one of the characters eating the head of another person, I quickly turned it off and went, yeah, I don't know if this one's for me. But I might go back. It had me captivated. It's super interesting. So I think I might go back to it. I think I'll just have to be a little bit ready for the zombie munching on head scenes, which just really kind of shocked me. So,
I mean, that would be shocking if you didn't know it was coming, for sure. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot. Carlos is watching it, but I'm not watching it. But I have heard such wonderful things about episode 3.
I have too. Yeah.
And so Carlos thinks that I could just watch that as a standalone if I wanted to. And he doesn't think I'd be missing that much for context.
Well, I'm a big fan of Pedro Pascal more and more over the years too.
Oh, I do like him a lot.
Yeah, and great. So it is great to have him as the lead. And from what I understand, the most expensive Canadian production ever. It was all filmed in Calgary or outside around Calgary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. I am not going to recommend anything quite as highbrow, even though, like, I know it's like zombies highbrow. Yes, zombies can be highbrow.
Yeah.
It's appointment television, from what I've heard. I am recommending what can be described as like maybe some trash television. Wait, unless I recommended this already. I don't think I did though. I have started watching Ginny and Georgia.
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay, great. Because it was described to me as Gilmore Girls with murder. And so I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And it is a much more contemporary and it's more like Gilmore Girls plus, from what I hear, sex education plus a little murder. So it's got a real combination of those three. The teens are great characters. Yeah, it's on Netflix. There's like some stuff that's, not as great, but there's some stuff that's like really wonderful and incredible. And I'm having a good time. It feels good to watch it, except when it feels sad or bad. but for the most part, it feels good. And there's some real intense things happening. But I guess it's like Sex Education plus Euphoria plus Gilmore Girls plus murder. So yeah, that's a real combo.
It's just Netflix, really, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Netflix's attempt to combine a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's in its second season. I'm still in the first season, so I don't know how it ends or where it goes. But I particularly enjoy the young person who plays Ginny, the daughter. Her name is Antonia Gentry, and she's so good. And then Jennifer Robertson is also in it, who you might remember from Schitt's Creek.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my recommendation. Thank you everyone for listening and just going on this journey with us.
Yeah, I was a wild one to this, that's for sure.
Happy Valentine's Day.
We're a lot of feelings today.
You can hang with us on Instagram, Twitter, on Facebook. You could email us at popthiscollective@gmail.com, and you could rate and review us 5 stars.
5 stars always. And thank you to our co-host and producer, Andrea Gin, who makes us all sound so great. And we'll take out some dog barks tonight, I'm sure. So thank you for that.
Plus me trying to phonetically pronounce a word.
That was a lot of fun.
Really have not.
That was only 10 minutes. It was fun.
Yeah,
that was only
we weren't even counting.
Yeah. Can you imagine just if we just ran it unedited? Like one day, you just your editing software completely kerplunked, and ooh, what a treat!
All right, everyone.
What a treat.
We'll see you
Thank you.
soon.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.